The first time I saw Karen standing in front of my house, arms crossed, eyes burning with contempt, I had no idea just how far she would go. I thought she was just another nosy HOA board member with too much time on her hands, someone who'd complain about mailbox colors and lawn heights. But I was wrong. Dead wrong. What started as petty harassment turned into something darker, something that forced me to do the unthinkable one night to protect my family. It all began 6 months ago when we moved into the quiet cul-de-sac of Oak Ridge Estates. My wife, Emily, and I had saved for years to buy this home, a modest 2-story with a wraparound porch and a big backyard for our kids. It was supposed to be our safe haven, our fresh start. The realtor had painted the neighborhood as peaceful and family-friendly. She never mentioned the HOA from hell. The first warning came in a letter, a neat white envelope taped to our door. It read, "Greater than, violation number 1, unapproved mailbox color. Immediate repainting required." I chuckled at first, thinking it was a mistake. Our mailbox was black, just like everyone else's. But when I looked across the street, I saw her, Karen, standing on her porch, arms crossed, watching me with that smug, self-satisfied smile. Over the next few weeks, the letters kept coming. Greater than, violation number 2, garbage cans left visible for 12 minutes past pickup. Violation number 3, lawn length exceeds 2.5 inches. Violation number 4, unauthorized garden gnome. I tried to laugh it off, to not let it bother me. But then she started showing up in person, uninvited. One Saturday morning, I was working in the garage when she marched up the driveway like she owned the place. "You can't leave tools out," she snapped, pointing at my workbench. "I'm using them," I replied, wiping the sweat from my forehead. "I'm building a birdhouse with my son." She scoffed. "It's a violation of neighborhood appearance standards. This isn't a construction site." That was the first time I felt the chill of her control, the way she relished power over others. But what I didn't know then was that Karen wasn't just obsessed with rules, she was obsessed with domination. And she hated anyone who challenged her authority. Things escalated quickly. One night, Emily came home shaken. She said Karen had cornered her at the community mailbox, accusing her of lowering property values with our children's sidewalk chalk drawings. My wife apologized just to end the confrontation, but Karen wouldn't stop. "You think you can move in here and do whatever you want?" "Not in my neighborhood," Karen hissed. "People like you don't belong here." That line hit hard. It wasn't just about chalk. It was personal. I decided to attend the next HOA meeting to speak up. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. Maybe reason would work. But when I walked into that fluorescent-lit community hall, I realized the truth. Karen ran this place like a dictator. She sat at the head of the table, surrounded by board members who nodded along like puppets. When I brought up the harassment and petty violations, she cut me off mid-sentence. "If you don't like the way we do things, you're free to leave," she said coldly. "The rules are clear. Follow them or face consequences." I went home furious. Emily begged me to let it go. "She's not worth it," she whispered. "Just ignore her." But ignoring Karen was impossible. A week later, I woke up to find spray paint on our driveway. "Move out or else." That's when fear replaced frustration. I installed cameras around the house and filed a police report. But the officer said without proof of who did it, there wasn't much they could do. Still, I knew. I saw her car creeping by late at night. I heard her voice outside the fence, whispering to someone. And then came the final straw. One afternoon, while my kids were playing in the yard, a rock came sailing over the fence, narrowly missing my daughter's head. Attached was a note, "Greater than, keep your brats quiet or I will." Something inside me broke that day. I wasn't just dealing with an annoying neighbor, I was dealing with a threat. I called a lawyer, filed restraining orders, documented everything. But the system moved slow. Karen, meanwhile, grew bolder. She started trespassing, walking across our yard, taking photos through our windows. I confronted her once, but she just smirked. "You'll regret moving here," she said, stepping closer, eyes glinting with menace. "I could make your life disappear." I told her to leave or I'd call the police. She leaned in and whispered, "You call them, and I'll make sure they find something buried in your yard." That night, Emily and I didn't sleep. We kept the kids in our room. I loaded my licensed firearm and placed it in the drawer beside the bed. I prayed I'd never have to use it. But fate had other plans. It was a stormy night, rain slashing the windows, thunder echoing like distant gunfire. Around 1 a.m., Our dog started barking furiously. I jolted awake. The motion detector light flicked on outside. Through the blinds, I saw a figure creeping along the side of the house. Heart pounding, I grabbed the gun and crept downstairs. Emily clutched the kids, whispering prayers. Lightning flashed, and I saw him. A man, not Karen, but someone I recognized from the HOA meetings, one of her lackeys, a tall, stocky guy named Rick. He was wearing dark clothes, gloves, and holding something metallic. He was breaking into my shed. I shouted through the window, "Stop! You're trespassing, I'm armed," but he didn't stop. He turned, eyes wild, and started toward the back door. The sound of the doorknob rattling snapped something inside me. In that moment, all the fear, all the threats, all the sleepless nights, they came crashing down. I raised the gun. My hands shook. I yelled one last warning. "I will shoot." He lunged at the door. Glass shattered. I fired. The gunshot echoed like thunder. Rick crumpled to the ground, clutching his leg, screaming. My wife called 911, her voice trembling. I ran outside, heart pounding, the rain washing over us as I held the gun steady. The police arrived within minutes. They secured the scene, arrested Rick for trespassing and attempted break-in. He survived. The bullet had gone clean through his thigh. But the real shock came when detectives searched him. In his jacket, they found zip ties, duct tape, and a folded piece of paper with our address and the words, "Take care of them," scribbled on it. Karen's handwriting. The police questioned her the next day. She denied everything, of course. Claimed Rick acted alone. But the evidence, the note, the cameras, the pattern of harassment, it painted a clear picture. Karen had orchestrated it. She wanted to terrorize us into leaving. She was arrested on charges of criminal conspiracy and harassment. Rick faced burglary and assault charges. The HOA board distanced themselves from her immediately. Some even apologized, saying they'd been afraid to stand up to her. The community turned quiet after that. People started waving again. The letters stopped. The cameras stayed. But the damage lingered. My children still wake at night from nightmares. My wife double locks every door. In me, I replay that night over and over, wondering what would have happened if I hadn't acted. Sometimes I stand on the porch, looking at the spot where he fell. The rain has washed away the blood, but not the memory. I never wanted violence. I never wanted to be a man who pulled a trigger. But when you're pushed to the edge, when someone threatens your family, you do what you must. The police called it self-defense. The court agreed, but it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like survival. Karen's trial made the news. The footage from my cameras sealed her fate. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Rick got 5. We stayed, because leaving would have meant she won. Now, when new families move into Oak Ridge Estates, I make it a point to greet them personally. I tell them about the HOA rules, and the woman who thought she was above them. I tell them to stand their ground, to document everything, to never let fear silence them. Because monsters don't always wear masks. Sometimes they wear pearls and carry clipboards. And sometimes, to protect what you love most, you have to stare the monster in the eye, and refuse to back down.